Minky, good one! Yeah!
Hey YouTube, it's MinkiSan from MinkiSan channel. You know that, you're watching it. I've been talking with somebody on one of my other videos, just chatting. They want to start making YouTube videos, and it made me think about when you first start, it's really confusing. How do you get everything sort of to work and stuff? So I thought I'd go through some of the softwares that you can have. I tried quite a few to get a decent frame rate, good quality, etc., etc. And over that time, I think I've learned quite a lot about screen recording, especially with older hardware now. Particularly as the games get more and more advanced, it becomes harder to run those games and recording software. So we'll start from the beginning. One of probably the best piece of software, reasonably cheap, that you can use to start with is going to be something like Fraps. Now Fraps is I would say the YouTuber's friend. It's quite the file sizes can be quite large when you're recording, but they're only an AVI. You can only have an AVI file, which doesn't make it so easy when it comes to editing if you've got different editing software. For instance, Sony Vegas 13 suddenly won't accept AVI files. Apparently it never did, but I must have had an issue with some codec. So there is a way of getting it to do the right things and having an AVI file which you can convert, and I'll show you how to do that later on anyway. So Fraps is a really good choice. It's about £20. I think it is £20, so that's about $30. I think it's about $30, but that's a forever license. They haven't updated it in a very long time though, and I found that as the games got more intense, I was unable to run Fraps as well as the game and keep a really high frame rate. However, I used it for a very long time and the quality was pretty good. So that's Fraps. Another one that you may be interested in looking at is something called Action. This is from Mirrorless. Again, it's £20. It's $19.99, but often you'll find a discount for this, and I paid, I think, £12 something for it when I actually bought it. So it's a very good program. It can output into MP4. If you've got an AMD card, you can use this MP4, and you can use this AMD app, which makes you, if you use an AMD card, it gives you slightly higher frame rates. I'm not so sure how well it worked, but output to MP4 means you do end up with a smaller file size. I will share in the description. I did a link, not a link. I did a video about the comparisons between, I think it was Playclaw, Action, Fraps, DXTory, Bandicam, some others. Anyway, I'll put a link for that video in the description. You can have a look and see what you think, whether you think the videos, whether they're very good or not. But bear in mind, when I was doing that, I was having an issue with my system, and I was also having a problem with the fact that games are a bit more intense now. So Action's a really good piece of software. You can find trials for most of these. The Fraps trial, I'm gonna say something I would never really advise, and I would never really suggest that someone does something illegal. But Fraps trial is for 30-second videos, so it's really hard to tell if it's going to have a big impact on your system when you're running stuff. So I think Fraps either need to increase the amount of time that you maybe just watermark something with something on screen, but just watermark it rather than have a time limit, because it's really hard to tell whether it's going to work right for your system. There are other ways of getting Fraps. I'm not suggesting you go out and download an illegal version, because you'd have all the issues that comes with downloading illegal copies. However, you need to find, maybe you can borrow a friend's license or something for a short period of time so that you can work out if it's the right piece of software for you. Action have a much better trial, and so go and try the trial for it. But I personally, having used a lot of the others for software recording, I think Action gets my thumbs up because it's quite versatile in the way that you do things. It's got quite a lot of really cool features that you can do stuff with. I'm gonna have to edit part of that, sorry. And there's tons of stuff that you can do with Action in the settings to tinker. So that's a really good piece of software. And if you want my opinion, if you're going to go the software route, I think Action, you couldn't really go far wrong with it. Not the last piece actually. I'm going to show you two. I'm going to show you DXTory, and the DXTory is very good as well. I found for my system, the way I was doing something, I don't know what I was doing, but I was having an issue with DXTory. I could only output an AVI. There is a way to make it output in a different file, but it's a lot of messing about. But then DXTory, I just moved away from DXTory, and then somebody told me actually about something called a Lagarith lossless codec. If you go and get this Lagarith lossless codec, you will absolutely find DXTory to be a really good piece of software, and I wish I hadn't given up on it so quickly. Once I got this codec, everything worked quite well. I did find, however, that it seemed to make seemed to be more colourful. So the reds were better, the blues were better, etc. However, they also seem to be quite dark when I was doing with DXTory. But I'm sure that's my settings. I hadn't played around with it enough. Anyway, haven't used that for a very long time. The last thing I want to show you is something called Playclaw. Now, I bought this from their site, so I paid £26 for it, which is about $37, $38, maybe more. And I found it to be awful. The interface is great, and the information you can have on screen is really, really good. However, I actually found it to be a really terrible drain on my system, even though it was purported to be really, really low. There's lots of different, or there were lots of different settings. Then they updated the program. Do you know what? I haven't even updated it since then. Actually, they updated the program and they took away some of the options. Apparently this is going to be the best one for my system, but you know, I basically gave up with Playclaw. I thought it was awful. I haven't updated it, and maybe I will do another video another day with an updated version and see how it goes. But Playclaw looks great and has all the bells and whistles and says it's a really low impact, but in my opinion wasn't a good piece of software. I've actually moved on to what I think is the best solution, and that is to buy a separate card. So I'm using, and inside my PC is an AverMedia Gamer HD series. It's the light card. In my opinion, this is the best solution. It doesn't impact my system. Well, it hardly impacts my system when I'm playing a game. I can still play a game on really high settings and record it without it really making a difference to my frame rate. Maybe 1 or 2 FPS, literally that low of an impact. But there is a big drawback to it. I don't have the sort of big version, whatever it's called, the super duper one, just the HD Gamer something. I've got the light version, so I've got no way of knowing, and it's really a stupid omission by them, of if I'm recording at the moment or if I'm recording when I'm playing a game. So the way I have to do it now is I have to say I'm ready to record, come down here and press start, and then open the game. So it's a real pain to have to not have any information on screen that says I am or I'm not recording, and I think it's a real big omission. So those are the recording softwares that you could use. Once you've recorded something, what you may find is that, and you probably will find, is that over a period of time when you've recorded a video, your audio and video, there will be an offset. They won't sync up fully. So if you don't sort of rejoin them back together correctly, you'll end up with a very slight difference by the end of the video from the beginning as to what you're doing on screen and the sounds being produced. You may not. I didn't have it for a long time, but as games get more advanced and things, and it's a little bit more of a drain on the system, you're not able to compress as quickly as you were. So what I do once I've recorded something, I bring it into this program called Handbrake. So if I go to my folder where I keep my game videos, I don't have anything in here that I haven't converted. What I do is I use this piece of software. I don't have anything I can bring in to show you. However, do I? No, I don't. Okay. I take the TS file that's produced from my recording software. I bring it into Handbrake. I come to video and I click constant frame rate, and that then syncs my audio and video together so that I end up with the same length video and audio to be able to make a decent quality YouTube video. Once you've done that, once you've got your video made, you can then go on to the types of software you use to edit the video together to make it into a decent video for people to watch. I'll show you those now. So when we talk about editing videos, we're talking about really two main players. There are some free versions out there. I'm not sure how good they are. I've never used them. I was lucky enough to have Final Cut Pro on my Mac, and I used to edit that way. From that point on, because of being in that kind of place, I have friends that had Sony Vegas and things like that. One of them went travelling and said I could use his license. Now he came back recently, so I had to go and buy a video editor, and I was sort of deliberating which to buy. I didn't want to spend £600-700 on a video editor. I didn't have the money for it, so I had to go for one of the sort of what you would say watered down versions, but they're kind of consumer, not prosumer, I suppose is the easiest way to say it. And the two choices really, Adobe and Sony. So Adobe Elements 13 is the most recent version, but I still thought it was quite expensive for the additional features, which seem to be not very many. Plus, if I bought Adobe Premiere Elements, you got Adobe Photoshop Elements free. It came with it as a package, so I thought, okay, well, I'll get that, and it was only £22, I think, something like that. Now, I use Adobe Photoshop to create my custom thumbnails. If you want me to do a tutorial on, there's hundreds on there. If you want a tutorial on that, let me know in the comments section of this video, and I will show you how you create thumbnails and add text, etc. in this program. Because a lot of the tutorials are for Photoshop, and it's not very different, but it is different. I use CS6 on my Mac, and so for what I need to do for YouTube, this is perfect. And for what you'd need to do for YouTube, it's also perfect. So that's that anyway. Okay, let's move on to the sort of nuts and bolts of things. So this is Adobe Premiere Elements 12. It's a good piece of software, and I don't have any issues with this software at all. Other than the fact, for me personally, I find it a little bit clunky because I've been used to using Sony Vegas. So I'm going to bring some media in now, and I'll show you what I mean by the fact that I say it's clunky. So if I drag this media into the sort of area that it wants to go, if I want to make a cut to this video, so for instance, like I said to you, I have to start recording before I can do anything. So if I want to start here, I have to make a cut. And I have to use the mouse to come down here and click. Now, I don't know the shortcuts. There may be one, but I don't know. If I want to delete that and get rid of the gap, I can do this. If I want to make a space in here, I have to cut here, move over here, and then I can just delete this without closing the gap, so I can put something else in here, and then if I change my mind, I can do this. So it's quite flexible. It's quite a good piece of software. It does you can move through the timeline with this quite quickly, but it isn't actually scrubbing, if you notice. It's just sort of jumping around left, right, and centre. Now you can get a better result by rendering this, sort of pre-rendering the video now. So that's quite good. One of the big frustrations I have with it, though, it's really mouse sort of intensive. If I move my mouse wheel, let me come out a little bit. If I use my mouse wheel to roll around the video, which I made it a little bit. This is what I mean. I find it a bit clunky. So I want to move around. I'm not zooming in and out. I'm going backwards and forwards. And I'm sure there's a way to change that as well. But I don't like that. I want to be able to use my mouse wheel to zoom in and out of this. So if I want to quickly get into this piece and cut because I want to make sure I'm in the right place, I want to scroll with the mouse and roll in. Instead, I have to get this into the right place on here, which is not as easy as it seems for some reason, like that. And then I have to zoom in. And then I've got to find it again. Except I find it quite clunky, is my personal opinion. However, it does have some really nice features. There is, in the tools section, there's some motion tracking. The transitions are really nice. I've got some really good transitions. The titles and texts are quite good. They've got a lot. There's a lot that comes with it, and they also have some included music, so you can sort of add. If you watch one of my Subnautica videos, I speeded up the section, but because in this program you don't seem to be able to remap the sound, I basically had to just like cut like this and cut like this, and then I can just delete the audio. No, delete the audio. Nearly made a mistake. And then if I wanted to, I can. In actual fact, we can do it from tools section. So select this, go to tools, and we can then time stretcher. Yeah, okay. So we can make that. If you want to slow it down, you would stay in the pluses, and if you want, you would go minus 500. Would make it that, and we can go there. And then when it plays this piece, momentarily. 1 second. I really do find this quite a clunky piece of software. It would speed through that section really, really quickly, and it's quite easy to do and quite simple. For some reason I haven't managed to make that move to the right place very well. This is what I mean. I find it really clunky, and for me personally, it's not something I enjoy using. I find this quite a hard piece of software to use. So look, that's Adobe Premiere Elements 12. It's a good piece of software. I probably will come back and do things with it that I find a bit more awkward in Sony. I'll show you the next piece of software, which is Sony Movie Studio 12 as well. So just one other quick thing. This does have motion tracking built into it, so it's quite good if you're not doing game. I mean, I suppose you could use it for gameplay if you've got a character or something on screen that you want to add something to. But the best solution would be, or the best reason you would want to use that is if you were doing live action and somebody was running around and you wanted to do something to them, or put something on a building that was in shot all the time while they ran around past it. I don't really know. Anyway. It's got some good features, some really good features, and I'm not going to put it down. It's a good piece of software, but for me personally, I find it quite hard to use. For example, I'm going to come back to another negative. if I wanted to record an audio track, for some reason you have to record it into this narration track. It works really well. You record the audio as you like. You can cut and chop and change things around, no problem. However, when you then render the video, the narration track doesn't get rendered with the video. It's a known bug and it just hasn't been fixed. This is version 12. So you have to then copy that narration track into another audio track and then render the video. And if you forget to do it or you don't line it up properly, everything's in a bit of a mess. So it's just, I just find it really clunky. So the other, that made me go ahead, I don't care about those things, that made me go ahead and decide to purchase Sony Movie. Now, this is Sony Movie Studio Platinum 12, but I bought the suite. So that meant I also got a program called SoundForge, Audio Studio, and DVD Architect. So they just came with it. I need to buy some loops if I want to use this, but I got GarageBand, so I kind of do my music there anyway. I really like this. It's just like Sony Vegas, and the reason it's easy to use is if I want to make a cut, I can just press the S key, and I've made a cut right here. If I want to zoom in and out, I can just roll the mouse wheel really quickly to get my cuts really precise. I don't want to cut there though, so I just need to step back and undo that cut, which is really easy to do. I find it a very simple piece of software to use without any issues. It's nice and quick. When you scrub, you actually scrub through your video, which is really nice. That means you can actually get things quite lined up how you want them to go. To do something that one of the most common cuts is a crossfade, and so in Sony it's really simple. I'm just going to split again. It's really simple to do that. I can literally just drag that video over and start my crossfade from wherever I like. I can just crossfade and it should do it. It didn't do it. Maybe I need to be a little bit more of it. That was only 1 second, wasn't it? Oh, it's because I'm okay. You won't be able to see it because I'm fading from one to another. Anyway, the point is it's really simple. Here's one. I can just drag it over. I think this is an actual, yeah, look, it's an actual dissolve phase. So, do you know what I mean? It's really easy to use. It's really simple, and it's just useful. Lots and lots of features that you want to do. To pan and crop into parts of a video, you've got tools to do things with. The biggest feature for me, though, is the fact that I can record voiceover tracks. I can bring audio in, and once I've done that, I can edit them in my chosen software. And in actual fact, I may not have this set up. Let me just see if it is. No, it's not set in preferences. So if I go to preferences, my favourite audio editor is Audacity. It's excellent for removing pops and hisses and bits and pieces. It's got a really good noise removal sort of thing. This won't work because it's the wrong it's going to sound silly. This is now the wrong format for Audacity. It doesn't like it to be able to edit that software. But if I had a voiceover here, I can't show you because I'm actually using the mic to record this audio, I'd be able to very quickly take that audio, edit it, and do that within this program. So that makes my audio nice and clean. Bringing files in, very easy, very simple to do. Moving stuff around, cutting it, making the edits. It's a really nice, very fluid, very fast piece of software. Now, the reason I didn't buy Movie Studio Platinum 13, the suite, is because it was more expensive, and it seems to have been made for touchscreens. So this is, to me, about as good as it gets at the moment for Movie Studio. And I only paid £20 for this from eBay. And I got the entire suite. It was an OEM version, but it's, you know, I've still got the licenses for everything. It's a really good piece of software, and it does exactly what I wanted to do. If I wanted to add text over the top of the video, I can actually save my own defaults. If you've seen my videos, you'll know that I like to have this sort of cartoon, like a comic book style sort of look, and this is just a font called Badaboom, which I downloaded, and it's got a specific yellow colour and a stroke overlay, which means it's just basically outlined. The text is outlined to make it stand out. So that's, you know, that's a saved thing. I don't have to mess around with it. I have saved it in a slightly weird position, I accept that, but that's because I was messing around with it previously. I just thought I'll quickly save that setup. So it's a really simple program to use. It does what I want it to do when I want it to do it. I don't have to mess around. I don't have to get caught up in how do I do this, how do I do that. I can just use it. So that's probably why I prefer it over Adobe Premiere, as Adobe Premiere does have lots and lots of cool features, but just not enough good features for me. So that's how I edit the videos, and that's how I record the videos. If you want to know how I do anything else, as in Audacity, I have got a video which I'll also include in the link about creating good quality videos. I'm not saying that I'll never say that I get a lot of hits, but just good quality, i.e. decently recorded footage that looks nice, good sound quality, and good video. There's some, if you take a little bit of time, if you spend all that time playing and recording the game, you may as well make it look as good as you can. So anyway, thanks for watching this video. Sorry it ran a bit long. I hope this helps you. I hope you sort of think, yeah, okay, I can see the differences between those things, and this might be good, this might be bad. If you've got any questions, just ask me in the comment section, and I try to, if you take the time to leave me a message or write a comment, I will always try my utmost to come back to you and respond quickly and say, hey, hi, answer your questions, etc. Once I've played around with SoundForge, I might do a video on that as well. It looks quite good, but I just don't really know how to use it yet, so I've only got it a little while ago. Thanks for watching. Please hit like, please hit subscribe, go and look at my other videos, check out all the links in the description. There's loads of really cool stuff there. You might want to buy a MinkiSan t-shirt and make yourself look like a MinkiSan fan. Anyway, love you, bye!
Yeah, Minky, goodbye, yeah.